Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. We're going to talk about the fascinating posits that come of the brand new Netflix show, The Chair, and how they relate to Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. So, I just watched The Chair. I absolutely inhaled this show. I watched this thing in a day. It had 6 episodes, and I blasted through it. It's the best drama I have seen on Netflix in quite a while. And actually, I was gonna say, a long time, but like, there's ridiculously good dramas on Netflix all the time. So, and this is really top tier. And I would say this really is every dungeon master content. I think even 12-year-olds could watch this. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it should just be 18 and up. There's some habits that some of the people have that probably wouldn't be good for anybody under 18. But so basically, the chair posits some really. Let's start counting them down. Let's talk about the main themes of it. So, first of all, this show stars Sandra Oh. Now, she is a really powerful Hollywood actress who has fully arrived, I think. I don't think she's really delivered on the big screen, but the big screen's over now, so I guess that doesn't matter anymore. She's a major small screen actress. And actually, I just forgot, she's done some really good voice work on the big screen. Raya, The Last Dragon. Well, even that was on the small screen. I don't know. Like, Sandra, okay, as soon as I saw Sandra Oh, this is really the first thing I've seen Sandra Oh in at length, okay? She's an extremely good actress, and she knocks it out of the park. Her performance in this is absolutely stellar. The whole show rests on her performance. If her performance isn't spot on perfect, this show doesn't work. Okay, and it is. She just does an absolutely amazing job with what she has. So, in this show, she's really, really good. So, what is the show about? So, by the way, Sandra Oh was in Grey's Anatomy, which I've never watched a single episode of. I saw ER. I doubt it's going to be better. And then I think she was in Killing Eve. I never saw that, but she's just fantastic in this. I cannot say enough about her. And I'm thrilled that I finally got to interact with her work, because I've heard her name 100 times, and she's up for a lot of roles. She has a really robust career, and I'm quite happy for her, right? And this is a big deal because we are in this era where we're starting to say, hey, do women get to play too at the big dog level, right? Because for a long time, men have had these really robust careers, especially when they get older in their 40s and 50s. And so Sandra Oh is one of these new type of stars who is really pushing against the idea that a woman past 40 is not going to have as robust a career as a man past 40 in Hollywood. So this is really important show. You should absolutely watch it. And there's some really big D&D linked material here. So let's get into the first one. So Sandra Oh plays the chair. She is the chair of Pembroke University, and actually it's supposed to be a fictional university, even though I think there's actually a Pembroke college somewhere. But this is clearly supposed to be in New England, and I think the real one's down in South Carolina. So it's a fictional university. Sandra Oh becomes the first female, first Korean chair of the English department at an Ivy. Okay, I think that it is an Ivy League, right? It's supposed to be top tier. The only thing above it is Yale and Harvard. And I will say, I'm not sure I think most Americans get this. There's 3 tiers of colleges in America, right? There's probably 4. Yeah, I would put them in. There's 5. Let's knock them off, right? So there's Ivies. There's There's Harvard and Yale. They're in a league of their own, right? They don't even count as Ivies. They float above the Ivies, right? They are Ivies, but they float above all the other Ivies, right? Most people can't even name the other Ivies, right? Then there's the Ivy League. Then there is the private, expensive. Then there's state schools, and then there are schools that are worse than state schools, right, in America. That's for college and university. All right, and so she's at the Ivy. The only thing above her is Yale and Harvard. And the show says that an English degree today, she now is the chairman of an English department at an Ivy League school, and they are struggling to get any funding from their school for their department. And the reason why is the vast majority of students coming into the school see their department and see literature, English literature, and a degree in English literature as close to worthless, right? And so Sandra Oh's character actually says, I think her name is Junyi in the show. I think that's how it's pronounced. So the chair, Junyi, she says, it's like I have arrived at the party after last call. So she's here, she's the chair, right? But who cares about English literature, right? And boy, is the show right. The show is right, is 100% right. English literature is irrelevant today. It is over. It is finished. The novel and the book are ancient relics. And this show goes hard at that idea that English literature is worthless, right? And I agree. English literature is finished. It is done, right? And the reason why it's important for Dungeons and Dragons is we get to pick up the ball, right? So why is English literature finished? Okay, I'll explain why. It's non-interactive. It is one of the most non-interactive activities that you can do today. And I am very sensitive to this. I'm an evangelical Christian. Our church is struggling, like every church today. If you don't know this, churches are dying fast, right? Churches are amazing. I have my evangelical Christianity, nothing in my entire life has impacted me more deeply. Nothing has given me more blessings, but quite literally and quite figuratively, than my evangelical Christianity. And the church is incredibly important to me, right? But we can barely drag people, and we don't drag anyone. But nobody's coming, right? It's dying, and nobody cares, right? And one of the reasons, and my pastor is a very open and very kind person, and a very smart person, and very responsive person, right? And so he asks at times, and he'll ask people, I'm one of the, I have a ministry in the church. I serve in the church in a specific ministry, right? So I don't just sit in the seats on Sunday. I actually help, put on the show, right? Like that, air quotes. So I have a job to do every Sunday, right? And then people come in, and we have like 80 to 90 attenders now. We used to have like 200, right? And so people come in, and my pastor said, why can't we get people in? And I said, well, the problem is the entire model is screwed for modern America, right? By the way, everything I'm saying today, purely American specific, okay? Might be different in your country. All right, so basically, my pastor we sing, and then my pastor gets up and blah blah blahs for 30, 35 minutes. I get it, I understand it, I take notes, right? But nobody else who comes in does. Like, where's the part where I can text a question? Where's the part where I can just ask you a question while you're doing the sermon, and I can learn what I need to learn immediately? Every single thing in our lives is interactive now, but books aren't. You read them, you don't have access to ask the author exactly any questions you want, right? You might if you're lucky, if you have some kind of, if you have money, or if you have some kind of special access. But the reality is there's no interaction, right? It is a horribly uninteractive storytelling method, and it is finished. English literature does not matter, right? Now, what does matter? The Dungeons and Dragons narrative engine. The stories that are told at the Dungeons and Dragons table are modern. They are relevant. They are perfectly positioned to replace English literature, right? And the reason why is, unlike a novel, right, you have multiple authors. The primary author is the dungeon master. The secondary, tertiary, I don't know what fourth and fifth are, authors, there are actually 5 authors in a standard Dungeons and Dragons game. The dungeon master is the primary author. The dungeon players are the primary 4 other authors, right? But get this, unlike the ancient, antiquated English literature Moby Dick nonsense, right? It's not just a once and done, right? It's not like the author scrawls down whatever ideas they want and then other people read it and they don't have any way to really interact with the author, right? The stories that are being told in Dungeons and Dragons are interactive. They have a very legitimate safety tool, right? So the dungeon master can tell the story with the dungeon players and can react in real time and make sure that the story is safe, make sure that the story is relevant, make sure that the story is enjoyable, right? All these things cannot be done in a book because a book is an antiquated piece of, at this point, it's worthless. It's less than worthless, right? And I'm not just the one saying this. Amanda Peet, you guys may remember Amanda Peet, right? Amanda Peet is an executive producer on The Chair, and The Chair makes it incredibly clear that English literature in America today is utterly, completely irrelevant, useless, and no good, right? It's the main theme of the show, right? And I'll tell you, I could not get enough of it, right? Like, show opens and ends with, Vampire Weekends, who gives an F about the Oxford comma, and just goes from there. It's like they turned that show into a song, right? And the reality is, for 570 years, right? 1450, Gutenberg Press came out. Gutenberg, Mike dropped in 1450, and guess what? I'll give it to him. Gutenberg ruled for 570 years, but English literature today is dead, irrelevant, done, useless, right? And every dungeon master today is helping to create the new modern narrative engine. The book as a narrative engine is dead. It is irrelevant and it is useless. Sandra Oh did an amazing performance to perfectly show everyone in a dramatic, useful, realistic way that an English literature degree is less than worthless today, and that you could be a chair of an English department at the highest levels of academia in America, and your job will suck because English literature is fully, functionally dead. Nobody cares about Moby Dick. Nobody cares about, the Bronte sisters or whoever, right? It's done. It's finished, right? And so that's where we're at, right? But now, here's the good news. As Dungeons and Dragons people, we are the future, right? It started in 1974, right? Right now, Dungeons and Dragons, most people think it's a game, right? I actually think it's the future of psychological therapy, and I think it's the future of human intellectual evolution. That's what the game actually is, right? That's what Dungeons and Dragons actually is. It wears a mask today as a game, okay? And I think fools believe it's a game, but people who are paying attention don't, right? And what it really is, it is the narrative engine designed and specifically set in place to give humanity a new narrative engine to rule for the next 570 years. I'm ready. Are you? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.